Welcome to a CNBC Africa panel special, and today we're going to be talking about digital skills, bridging the digital skills divide. Now, just to give you a bit of context, digital skills are an opportunity for skills and reskilling of the workforce on the African continent. The COVID-19 pandemic has exacerbated the need for these skills and also shown the opportunities that they may represent. Now, this discussion will look at the challenges, opportunities, and way forward in bridging the digital divide on the African continent. And to break this down for us, we are joined by Momar Dieng from the African Institute for Mathematical Sciences, Isadora Bigodun, the head of programs, Digital Africa. And later on, we might be joined by Femi Longe, the founder, Ed Tech Connections and CC Hub. Thank you for making the time, lady and gentlemen, for now. And if Femi joins us, that will be also great insights for our panel discussion as well. So to dive into our conversation straight away, I want to start with you, Isadora. Crucial, and I want you to tap into what an organization like Digital Africa is doing here in trying to bridge that digital divide and the need to reskill workforce for the next 10 years of the continent. How big of a divide do we have at the moment?
Thank you very much, Arnold. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for this opportunity. What we feel at Digital Africa is how big is the divide today? According to the last figures that we have, specifically IFC had produced a report stating that we are looking at 450 million jobs that will have to be created by 2015 to address the digital skills gap that the continent is facing. That's huge, and that means that there's a huge opportunity because, of course, Africa is the youngest continent of the world, so it's a great opportunity. Africa uses an asset, but it has to be equipped and assisted in the fact and trained so that we can address the needs and the skills needs on the continent. So at Digital Africa, what we just launched a program named Talents for Startup. What we see on the ground, on the field, is the fact that the startups, when they want to scale up, they find it very difficult to staff and to find the local talents that they need, talent that can be trained with digital skills, but not only digital skills, soft skills, so all the skills that are needed to scale up their startups. On the other hand, you have all the young people that are really very well connected and that have entered the digital world quite quickly, specifically on the continent, and that they are craving for training, but they don't always find the ways to train and to be trained. So Talent for Startup, the main goal is to address the staffing issues of the startups, together with offering scholarship to 250 young people on the continent to follow and to be trained by digital education providers that we will be partnering with, so that we can, fill this gap and make sure that the right skills are matched to the startup that are actually craving for talents to scale up. We've launched this program together with Make IT and the German corporation, and the idea is to launch now a pilot program, but we really want to scale up ourselves these programs to be able to provide scholarship to the young so that they can be trained and then match them with the startups that are looking for talents to scale up. So for us, digital economy is a huge opportunity for the continent, but for sure that needs to upskills the people who are the youth and the people on the continent to be able to, in terms of technical, but as well as soft skills, be able to answer and to match the needs of the startup, but not only startup, the digital economy as a whole.
Quite the perspective there, Isadora. Momar, I want to bring you into the conversation as well. And maybe here you can tap into something like what the African Institute for Mathematical Sciences is doing. For a while now, you've been trying to reskill teachers, students, mathematical students, as well at PhD level, I believe. Correct me there. And the reason for that is Africa missed the first, second, third industrial revolutions, right? And right now we're trying to leapfrog in a way from the second to the fourth industrial revolution. COVID-19 has happened. That means the skill sets that we thought would be needed in 2035 are actually needed in 2021. So what can be done to speed up this reskilling of the workforce?
Thank you very much, Arnold. What can be done is actually exactly what we're trying to do at AIMS, at the African Institute for Mathematical Sciences, which is to train the next generation of African scientists to make sure that, as you rightly said, the continent doesn't miss this fourth industrial revolution. So what does that mean for us? It means training the top minds, the talents on this continent in modeling, mathematical modeling, in subjects like artificial intelligence. And we've launched several programs at the master's level and PhD level to make sure that some of the best students on the continent are given the same opportunities right here on the continent in our 5 centers as they would have if they went to the best universities in the world. So that's one aspect of it. The second of it, and you also mentioned it, is teacher training. We are not going to get the kind of talent we need at AIMS to train them at the master's and PhD level if we don't work on the pipeline much earlier, and that starts with teachers. Any mathematician, I'm a mathematician by training, any scientist will tell you that the most important thing in their trajectory in the process of becoming a scientist was teachers. Were the teachers that instilled in them this love of inquiry, of exploration, this inquiring mind. And that's what we're trying to do with our teacher training program, to revamp the way math, sciences are taught at the secondary school level, and make sure that very early on, both girls and boys see mathematics and STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, as a career prospect for them, as a very interesting career prospect, something that is not just about memorizing equations and trying to ace the next exam, but really a lifelong journey of discovery, and something that can help solve the most important problems that our continent faces. So we work with teachers across our 5 centers. AIMS has centers in Senegal, Cameroon, Ghana, Rwanda, and South Africa. And we've reached more than 500,000 teachers at this point, and through them, probably up to 3 million high school students. And this is something that is extremely important, that we are very excited about, to build this pipeline of the next generation of scientists at the same time as we train the best minds of the continent at the master's and PhD level.
Thank you. Very detailed there from Omar. I want to bring Femi into the conversation, and thank you for joining us. Femi Longe is the founder, 8 tech companies, and founder and former Chief Innovation Officer for CCE Hub. Femi, recently you and I quickly had a brief chat about this regarding the digital skills divide, and I want you to break this down for our audience as well. How big of a divide do we have on the continent at the moment? And maybe using Nigeria as a case study, what can be done to bridge the digital divide?
Thank you very much, and really, really great to be part of the conversation. Beyond, I think if you look at the demographic makeup of Africa, it's very easy to understand that we have a big challenge that we need to solve, otherwise it's a time bomb. Data shows that every year we graduate about 11 million people from tertiary institutions in Africa, half of whom will never get jobs. Unfortunately, employers worry that the people that live in university are not currently employable because they lack certain core, they call it soft skills. I call it more life skills that are necessary to be able to do work at the level of proficiency that employers desire. Over the last 9 months, working with Digital Africa, we've done a survey to understand what are the needs that startups on the continent have as far as technical skills. What's the capacity to actually have that field based on what is currently existent in the market. And we found a very big gap, both on the very technical side, so everything from software development through to data science to the even softer side of the skills that technology that's needed to run technology businesses. So whether you're talking growth marketers, growth designers, whether you're talking about product managers, these are skills that at the moment, majority of our tertiary institutions are not even prioritizing. And so you have a mismatch. You have large unemployment, and at the same time, you also have a large youth population. And the way to match that gap is to have appropriate education that is targeted at and is responsive to how the market is evolving and what the needs are that the market has. And we're finding that at the moment, the education system right now is just not delivering well enough to match that. And of course, you have all the supplementary programs that are trying to cover the gap and cover the slack that the education system is not meeting. But again, very few of them are at the scale that is needed to match the scale of the problem. So if you consider 11 million young people, half of whom will not have jobs, and those are those that are privileged enough to even get into tertiary institutions, in a continent where 70% of the population is below 35, then you know it's an opportunity, particularly in a world where the majority of other continents, the population is aging, and there's still a need for talents that will solve problems. I think one of the things that technology has done, which is really brilliant, is giving lots of African talents opportunity to tap into markets abroad. So if you look at the last unicorn tech startup from that started from Nigeria, Andela, the entire business model, the entire design is around equipping talents that you can pair with jobs abroad. And there are a number of businesses that are doing that so that African talent is now more mobile. But if that's going to happen, if they're going to be effective, they're going to be able to tap into the opportunities that exist, then we need to be upskilling them with data and with knowledge and with insights on what the needs are in the market, both for the global market, but also for the local market, for local startups. So that also we're not creating an inflation by training African talent for international markets and starving African companies at the same time. I hope that answers the question.
Yes, it does, Femi, and I want to stay with you there. You're talking about investment in markets, you're talking about things like data, but a backbone to this is the need to invest in R&D, research and development. Now, a very not pleasant start, Africa invests less than 1% of its GDP in research and development. And yeah, I want to make a comparison. Not a fan of them, but I'm going to make a comparison. South Korea as a country alone invests close to 7% of its GDP in R&D. You look at Israel, close to 8%. Europe as a continent, somewhere between 4 and 6% investment in research and development. So if we were to catch up, if we were to make that leapfrog, how much should we be investing in our research and development? And Isadora, please jump in as well after Femi regarding the same question on investment in research and development.
Significantly more. I think, and I always say this in the context of our work, I think Africa is a very good test case, and the challenges that African countries face is very good test case for what is possible in the application of science and technology. In every sector, whether it's in our education systems that are failing or our health systems, or the problems that face our continent are very unique. In most cases, they are out of the realm of reality of designers in the West, where we get most of our solutions from. I always say a designer in Silicon Valley has probably never experienced power cuts in his life, whereas that is the reality of a designer in Africa. And so we do need we do need our universities. We do need and it's great to see Moma here and knowing the work that AIMS does. We do need significant work in making sure that what is happening in the university translates into application that improves the lives of people on the continent. What that means is you need to put in significant amount of investment in researchers, but also you also need to put in that investment in the work that takes the research out of the universities and into businesses and into the workplace. We also do as a continent need to work on making empirical data a key guide for our decision making in public life, in government, in business, in policy formation. And the research and the thinking that's going to make that happen is going to rest in the talent that is coming up, whether they make it into the formal tertiary institutions or not. Investing in them, investing in our ability to actually come up with solutions that are both at fundamental at the core of science, but also applicable to our problems, is going to be a crucial tool for the advancement of the continent.
Isadora, research and development. I know Digital Africa, this is one of the things you're encouraging. Why is it very important if we are to attain the goals that we have set out for the continent?
Yes, thank you, Arnold. I cannot agree more with Femi when he says that Africa has a lot of we feel at Digital Africa that what needs to be done and is really to make sure that we can scale up and equip African researchers, African entrepreneurs that are developing solutions from Africa for Africa, and that are grounded on the challenges and the opportunities that are present on the continent. So our belief at Digital Africa, what we want to do is we have a holistic approach, meaning that we work on skills, on financing, because when you want to scale up businesses and ideas, you need financing, but also research and public policy. So for us, research is a key thing. And in addition to that, we are working on connecting, the teams, researchers team. For example, if you take IA and ethics, we are developing with AIMS, actually, we are developing a program, and we want to go down that road of working on, multiple researchers team from Africa and from other parts of the world, so that we can work collectively on issues that are of great interest and of great challenges for the whole world. Because what we feel is that Africa can really inspire the whole world, and that solutions that are developed on the continent by researchers from the continent can be spread and should be spread worldwide. Because as Femi was saying, of course, someone from the Silicon Valley has never experienced power cuts or all the challenges, but it's coming. So in a way, in the world where we're going to live in, it means that all the solutions that are invented and that will be designed in Africa and can inspire and should inspire the world and be spread all over the world. So basically on research, what we do is we are planning on developing specific research program, for example, on ethics and artificial intelligence, or on all the issues around digital sovereignty. How do we work and make sure that, Africa has a model to invent here? So how do we make sure that the governance, the digital governance in Africa is specifically designed and fit for the continent? And what we want to do is push for partnerships between researchers team from the continent with researcher teams worldwide, so that they can have an exchange and that they can produce together. And that's something we're working on specifically with AIMS and all the partners that we have. We also have. Sorry. Yes.
I think. Oh no, go ahead.
Yeah. And thank you for jumping, Dieng. Quickly, I want also you to use the AIMS context, but I want to quote the World Economic Forum here. The World Economic Forum says 70% of the jobs of the future, and by the future I mean 2021 to 2031, will require some form of STEM skills. That has changed because of the pandemic. The jobs of now seem to require STEM skills. So what do we do now?
So first, let me just quickly buttress what Isadora just said. We are extremely excited to work with Digital Africa and other organizations in order to really strengthen research and development across the continent. She mentioned the AI and ethics research chair that we are developing right now together, and AIMS has research chairs in climate science. You may know that a big part of the conflicts and the stress that populations face across the continent is due to actually climate change. We also have researchers at AIMS that develop, for instance, a process for optimizing COVID testing that is being used across the world right now and saving governments millions of dollars. So these are just some of the very concrete results that research done at AIMS and across the continent has had in terms of impact. And so to your point, that it's extremely important for governments and partners in general to invest more in this type of research. Now, to your question, the skills that are needed right now are mathematical modeling skills, and we do need them right now. We cannot wait for another 20, 30 years to develop them. We need to make sure that students right now are equipped with these. And one of the things we do at AIMS is in our master's program, we actually encourage students to work in industry while they are still students. So we have a co-op program that's 18 months, and during those 18 months, 6 months of those are spent by students translating their research and their mathematical skills into something very concrete that companies can use in order to develop new products or optimize existing products. So this is something that all workers will have to do from now on. All workers in any setting, in any industry, will have to be digitally literate and will have to have some sort of STEM training and STEM capability in order to just stay in business, but also in order to ride this fourth industrial revolution wave.
We're running out of time, left with only about 4 minutes. So I'm going to give a minute to each of you. And I want to start with Isadora. What is the way forward?
Well, I think the way forward is to take into consideration that digital skills have changed the mindsets more than, it's technical skills, but as Femi was saying, it's living skills. So for me, it's, at first is realizing that there's a huge opportunity in terms of job creation in the digital economy. And in addition to this, there's a huge opportunity for everyone to get training in how it means, the change of mindset that the digital economy has brought to us, and that we don't, specifically with the COVID, we realized how much we were all digitalized and that most of us need training. So what's next? And what I think we need to act first on on bringing to mind and make everybody realize the change of mindsets that the digitalization of the economy has brought to us, and the opportunity that it is to train, to be trained massively. And hopefully for the continent, there's a lot of digital education players on the continent. Most of them, we partner with them, and they're very active. And at Digital Africa, we really want to make sure that good financing are provided to these programs, and that we can help everybody be trained and get ready for the, entering this fourth revolution with the good equipment and the accurate skills. And
Isadora, I'll have to cut you short there. Quickly jumping in, Dieng, you have 30 seconds. What is the way forward?
Invest in research, development, education, and training. Institutions like AIMS across the continent are the way forward. You cannot have the kind of economic development, the kind of business revolutions that we expect, with our free trade areas and so on and so forth, without investing in the human capacity, in the human capabilities to make that happen, and that starts with education.
Thank you, Dieng. And Femi, way forward for us to bridge this divide.
The young people, Africa's youths they are digital natives. They didn't experience analog. They were born straight into digital. So for them, the ability to gain these skills is critical. I think where we need to move them from is away from being consumers of technology to producers of technology, and equipping them with the skills to produce technology and the mindsets to produce technology. And once we do that, once we integrate that as a part of the education system, then we have the opportunity to leapfrog development, which is what the continent needs.
Thank you very much, Femi. Femi Longe is the founder, EdTech Connections, and co-founder of CC Hub as well. We also had Isadora Bigoden. She's the head of programs at Digital Africa. And of course, Momar Dieng from the African Institute for Mathematical Sciences. As you've noticed, this conversation could have taken a day, but we have to cut it short here. But if you want to be part of it, tweet us at CNBC Africa or tag me directly at The Real Quizera. Have a great rest of your day.